Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
President Donald Trump surprised everyone with a message on social media. He announced a plan for a new rule about movies. This rule would add a 100% extra cost to movies made outside the United States. This extra cost is called a tariff. It would apply to all movies brought into the USA from other countries. President Trump explained why he wants this rule. He said it is needed to protect jobs for American people in the movie industry. He believes that other countries are taking these jobs away. He also said that movies made in other countries can be a danger. He called them a threat to national security and said they contain foreign propaganda or bad messages. His social media post ended with the words, "We want movies made in America again." The announcement caused a lot of talk. Soon after, the president's office gave more information. The White House press secretary told reporters that no final decision has been made about the movie tariff. He said the government is looking at different ideas to help the U.S. movie industry. The Secretary of Commerce, who handles trade, also posted online. He confirmed they received the president's request and said, "We're on it." But he did not explain how the rule would work. This lack of detail left people in the movie business very confused. They have many questions. How would the 100% tariff be calculated? Would it apply only to movies shown in cinemas, or also to movies available on streaming services like Netflix? How does the government decide if a movie is truly foreign? Today, making movies is often a global effort. Many films use money, actors, and film crews from different countries. Even famous American action movies are often filmed in locations around the world because it is cheaper or looks better. Lawyers and movie experts noted that films are complicated. They are creative work and ideas, not simple goods like shoes or furniture that cross borders. It is difficult to apply a simple import tax to them. The industry is now waiting and worried, unsure about what this proposed tariff means for their future. 2. Why Trump wants this rule. President Trump says this new rule is very important. He believes other countries are not being fair to the American movie business. He says these countries use money, like special payments called subsidies, or offer tax help. This encourages U.S. movie companies to make their films in those countries instead of in America. He thinks these subsidies are like a special help that makes it unfair for American companies trying to make movies in America. He stated that this is hurting the American movie industry a lot. Many famous American movies are actually filmed outside the USA. Popular places for filming include Canada, the United Kingdom, Australia, and New Zealand. Movie companies often choose these locations because it costs less money to make movies there. These countries might give money back to the film companies, or they might have lower taxes for movie production. This helps the movie companies save a lot of money on big projects. Because more movies are made in other countries, there are fewer jobs for people who work in the movie business in America. For example, in Los Angeles, which is famous for movies, the number of movie and TV shows being made has gone down a lot. Over the last 10 years, it has dropped by about 40%. This means fewer camera operators, actors, sound mixers, and other workers have jobs in the U.S. movie business. A report showed that in 2025, California had 25% fewer local movie and TV jobs compared to 2022. President Trump wants to change this situation. He wants these movie jobs to come back to the USA. He said he wants movies to be made in America again. He also said earlier he was determined to bring lost business back to Hollywood. President Trump also has other big reasons for this rule. He says that movies made in foreign countries can be a danger to America's national security. He believes these movies can spread messages and ideas that are not good for the country. He called this propaganda. He did not give specific examples of these messages, but he feels it is a serious problem. He thinks other nations might be using movies in a planned way to try to make the U.S. weaker. So, for President Trump, this rule is not just about money and jobs. He sees it as a way to protect the country. It is also true that other countries often try to help their own movie industries. For a long time, some nations have wanted to protect their own culture and films from too many American movies. They do this because they want to make sure their own stories and culture are seen and heard, not just American ones. For example, France has rules and gives money to help French movies. Canada also worked hard to protect its cultural businesses during trade talks. China also has a system that limits how many foreign movies can be shown in its cinemas each year. President Trump has used national security reasons before to create new trade rules for other products, like steel and aluminum. He often said these rules were to protect American businesses and workers from unfair competition from other countries. He used special trade laws for this. Government officials have suggested that this new movie rule might also be explained as a national security issue. However, the exact reasons and how this rule would actually work are still not very clear. 3. Hollywood feels scared. After the president's announcement, the movie business felt worried. The news quickly affected money. On the stock market, the price of shares for big movie companies went down. Companies like Netflix, Disney, and Paramount Global saw their share prices fall. This showed that people who invest money were nervous about the future of movies. Leaders in Hollywood were confused and worried. They did not understand how the new rule, the extra cost called a tariff, would work. Would it be for movies in cinemas? What about movies on streaming services like Netflix? How would the government decide the cost? Was it based on how much the movie cost to make, or how much money it made? No one had clear answers. Big bosses at the movie studios tried to understand what the president's words really meant for their business. Experts who study the movie business shared their thoughts. They believed the tariff would cause problems. Making movies would become more expensive if this rule started. Because of the higher costs, companies might make fewer movies. This could mean less work for people in the industry and fewer choices for people who watch movies. Experts worried that the tariff would hurt everyone in the movie business. Worker groups, called unions, had mixed feelings. Unions always want more jobs for American workers. They liked the idea of bringing movie making back to the USA. But they were not sure if a tariff was the best way to do this. Some unions felt that other ideas, like help from the government with taxes, might be better than a tariff. They worried a tariff could harm the industry instead of helping it. Small movie makers felt especially scared. These independent filmmakers often have less money than the big Hollywood studios. They said that a 100% extra cost on films made outside the country could destroy their businesses. It would be almost impossible for them to make movies with small budgets if costs went up so much. Overall, the reaction in Hollywood was one of panic and doubt. People felt unsure about the future. They worried about higher costs, fewer movies, and lost jobs. The president's idea created a lot of fear and uncertainty in the American movie world. 4. Other countries' answer. News about the possible extra 100% cost on foreign movies quickly traveled around the world. Governments in other countries heard the news and were worried or angry. Countries where American companies often make big movies showed concern. These places include Australia, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom, UK. Leaders in Australia spoke quickly. They said they would protect their country's movie workers and companies. They promised to stand up for Australian jobs if the new American rule hurt them. The leader of New Zealand also said his government would help its film business. New Zealand is famous because parts of very big movies like The Lord of the Rings and Avatar were made there. Leaders there wanted to keep New Zealand a good place for making films. In Europe, reactions were strong. In the UK, film worker groups called the plan an attack on their industry. Many British people work on American film projects each year, and they worried about losing their jobs. A UK politician warned that putting costs on foreign films could hurt American companies too, because they use British workers and places to film. Across the European Union (EU), leaders and film officials were surprised. They said the American plan might break international trade rules. These rules are agreements between countries about how to trade things fairly. Some EU officials said movies are special cultural things, not just products, and these rules often protect them. They started talking about how to answer if the USA went ahead. China's reaction was also watched closely. China already has limits on how many American movies can be shown in its cinemas each year. Some experts thought China might make these limits even stricter. They might allow even fewer US movies into their country as a response to the American plan. This could mean American movie companies make less money from China. Canada, a neighbor of the USA, was also very worried. Many large Hollywood movies and TV shows are filmed in big Canadian cities like Toronto and Vancouver because it can be cheaper. Canadian film groups expressed concern about losing this important work. Canada might complain using trade agreements or world trade rules. Overall, many countries felt the American plan was a bad idea. They make money when American companies film movies there. They also sell their own movies to America. These countries feared losing business and jobs. There was a big risk that they would fight back. They could decide to put their own extra costs on American movies shown in their countries. This would make US movies more expensive everywhere. This situation could start problems about movies and trade between the USA and many other nations. 5. How money changes. The new 100% extra cost on foreign movies could change how money works in the film industry. It's important to know the USA makes much money selling its movies worldwide. America sells more movies to other countries than it buys from them. An important movie group, the U.S. Motion Picture Association, said that in one recent year, the USA earned about $15.3 billion more from selling movies internationally than it spent on foreign movies. This large amount shows American movies are popular and help the U.S. economy. However, many experts are worried. They think this new tariff is bad for the economy. If other countries are unhappy with this rule, they might fight back quickly. They could put their own extra costs on American movies or buy and show fewer American movies. This would be a very big problem for U.S. movie companies. Many big American films, often called blockbusters, earn most of their money from viewers in other countries, not just in America. So if these international sales fall, U.S. companies could lose much money. One expert said the USA has more to lose than to gain. The tariff could also make watching movies more expensive for Americans. If it costs much more to bring foreign movies into the country, companies will likely pass these costs to customers. This means cinema tickets for all types of foreign films, from family cartoons to art movies, might increase. Streaming services like Netflix could also become more expensive if they pay more for foreign content. So people might pay more to enjoy movies. Besides costing more, there might also be fewer movies to watch. If foreign movies become very expensive because of the tariff, cinemas might not show them as often. Streaming services might also offer fewer foreign films. This means people in America would have less choice. They could miss out on interesting stories and different movies from other parts of the world. The variety of films available might get smaller. Trade experts think this tariff will cause serious problems. They believe it will badly hurt the U.S. movie business. Fewer movies might be made. The movies that are made could cost more to produce. As a result, American movie companies might earn less money. Some experts state this rule will do more harm than good to the U.S. movie industry and the U.S. economy. They think it will make creating movies harder, businesses will suffer, and it might lead to fewer jobs in the film world. 6. Filmmakers talk. People who make movies are talking about the new tariff idea. Many directors, actors, and people who work on film sets are worried. They think the tariff will make movies cost more money to make. They also worry they might lose their jobs. It is already hard to make films, and this could make it harder. Not everyone feels this way. A small number of actors who like President Trump think the tariff is a good idea. For example, actor Kirk Cameron said it was an exciting time. Another actor, Jon Voight, said he supports ideas that bring movie making back to America. They hope the tariff will mean more movie jobs in the USA. Worker groups, called unions, also want more jobs for Americans. Unions like SAG-AFTRA represent actors and other workers. They said they want policies that help make more jobs, but they did not say they like the tariff. They often ask for other kinds of help, like tax breaks for movie companies that film in the USA. They think help like tax money is better than a tariff. People who make smaller movies, called independent filmmakers, are very worried. They say the tariff will make it impossible to make films that do not cost a lot of money. They believe this rule could destroy their part of the movie business. These smaller movies often need money or filming locations from other countries. It is also very difficult to say what a foreign movie really is. Today, movies are often made by teams from all over the world. A movie might have writers in Los Angeles, filming in Canada or Europe, and computer effects made in another country. Money for the movie might also come from different places. This makes it hard to decide if a movie is American or foreign. People in the movie business say it is confusing. They do not know how the rule would work for movies made this way. They worry about how the government will decide which movies get the extra cost. 7. Laws and world talks. How can this extra cost for movies become real? The president might try to use special government powers. These are sometimes called emergency powers. They let a president make rules quickly in special situations. He has used powers like this before for other things like steel. But there is a problem with using these powers for movies. An old American law might stop it. This law is called the Berman Amendment. It was made many years ago in 1988. The law says the government cannot use emergency powers to block information. Information includes things like books, news, and movies. Because movies are information, this law could stop the government from putting the new extra cost on foreign films. People who know about laws think this is a very important point. It could lead to fights in court. Other countries are also watching closely. They do not think this extra cost is fair. Many countries could complain to a group called the World Trade Organization, or WTO. The WTO helps countries solve problems about trade. Countries promise to follow certain trade rules when they join the WTO. These countries can say that the new American extra cost breaks these rules. They might say that movies are culture or information and should not have these trade problems. The WTO can study the problem and make decisions. What else can other countries do? They might decide to fight back. They could put their own extra costs on American movies shown in their countries. Or they could put extra costs on other American things they buy, not just movies. This is called retaliation. If many countries do this, it could cause big arguments between the USA and its friends or partners around the world. Leaders in places like Europe, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand are worried. They have said they will protect their own movie makers. These world talks become very difficult when one country wants to make big changes like this. It creates uncertainty and could harm relationships between nations. 8. The future of movies. The plan for a 100% extra cost on movies made outside the USA is not a real rule right now. It is still just an idea, a proposal. President Trump told the government to look into it, but no final decision has been made. Before this idea can become a law, government departments need to study it very carefully. They need to understand how it would work and what effects it might have. This kind of study takes a long time, maybe many months. So the extra cost is not happening tomorrow. Making this rule happen will probably be difficult. Many people and groups do not agree with the idea. There will likely be legal fights. People might go to court to try and stop the rule. Politicians in the government will also argue about it. Some might support it, but others will be against it. These political debates could also take a long time. Other countries that make movies are paying attention. Countries like Canada, the UK, and Australia, where many American movies are filmed, are concerned. If the USA puts this big extra cost on their films, they might react strongly. They could complain to international groups like the World Trade Organization, or they might decide to put their own extra costs on American movies shown in their countries. This could lead to bigger problems in trade between the USA and other parts of the world. People working in Hollywood are also worried. They think this extra cost will make movies much more expensive. It could mean fewer movies get made because they cost too much. It might also mean movie tickets and streaming services become more expensive for everyone. Instead of this extra cost, Hollywood wants different kinds of help from the government. They are asking for things like tax cuts. They believe lower taxes would encourage companies to make more movies in America. This, they say, is a better way to create jobs and support the movie business than adding a large tariff. It is also very difficult to say if a movie is truly foreign. Many movies today are made with money, actors, and crews from many different countries. So, for now, the future is very uncertain for the movie business everywhere. Movie studios, directors, actors, and all the people who work behind the scenes don't know what will happen next. Will this 100% tariff really become a law? If it does, what will it mean for the films shown in cinemas or on TV? Will there be fewer choices? Will movies change? Nobody has the answers yet. This proposal creates a lot of questions for the world of movies. How do you think this tariff might change the movies you watch?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.